Hey, welcome to week 2 of our lovely series called
Elephant in the Church.
In the Church. Last week, what did we talk about? Elephants in the church.
More specifically,
Bree, what did we talk about?
pretty sure it was something about our thought life.
Our thought life. Our head. What? If you missed that, go back and rewatch that. It was worth listening to. We had a lot of fun, but yet it was very important. And I promise you, I've been dealing with that this week, no doubt about it. Like today, for instance, I woke up, everything was going normal. I get to the church, I'm writing out my sermon. I go to the school over here at Louisville Ben Harmon, and the next thing you know, I get extremely dizzy. And this dizziness does not stop until 4:30 this afternoon. And so I was literally passed out on the couch because I'm like, I can't get any work done right now. I can't even see my toes. So that's been my day. How's your day been? Yeah? Fantastic. Bree, how's your day been?
It was good until my child pooped in her panties.
That happens.
It was not so good. Yeah.
Yep, so there we are. So tonight we're here to discuss another elephant in the church, another elephant in the room. Many of you have this. It's called social media. What? If you have your phone, what I want you to do, stick it in the air. If you got it. You got it? You got it? Pull open your social media accounts, and I need you to search for @OneStudentsFM. If you have not followed us on your social media devices, be sure to friend us. I would greatly appreciate that. I'm on Instagram right now.
Yeah, I'm liking people's pictures.
Oh, yeah. Did you see the picture that Sydney posted the other day?
I did. That was really neat with the
Yeah.
Bible verse.
Yeah,
I
she
liked
had
it.
like the peace symbol going on with like
liked
a
it.
sweet little
It was real
scripture.
cute.
Today, folks, we're talking about what I would like to say,
Liked it. Sure.
social character.
Yeah.
Did you know you could have character online?
Let's pause for a second. I know we just told you to take your cell phones out. Put your cell phones up. Thank you. You guys are like, this isn't fair.
Well, she needs to follow us on social media, and so does Isabella.
Yeah. Once you
So-
do that, put it up.
Absolutely.
If you've already done it. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Of me. Oh, thanks.
Rock and roll, rock
There
and
you go.
roll. So we're talking about social character today, on the fact that you can be a real person in life and then a completely different person online. So I tell you why I share with you this information. Just today or yesterday, can't remember, my friend from South Texas decided they would add me as their friend. But the problem was, Bree, I was already their friend, and I've been their friend for like 8 years. So that's kind of the situation going. So what goes through my mind, either someone is stealing their account and posing as a fake James and Sherry Hood, or they got mad at me, deleted me, then re-added me. Now, knowing James and Sherry Hood, that last option, Bree, is probably not the right option, right? I mean, you know James and Sherry. What do you think about them?
I think they're stand-up people who love you and would not delete you as a friend on Facebook.
Yes. I might cheer for the Dallas Mavericks when they're a Spurs fan, or I might be a Patriot fan and they're diehard Cowboy fans or whatever, but they're not going to delete me, okay? And I'm scrolling through my news feed because that's what you do. I like to do that to check up on people. That's how I like to check up on you guys. If I don't see you for a while, I go to your social media pages. I'd say, hey, how's this person doing? And I just want to make sure you're doing okay. That's what social media is there for. It's not creepy. It's not a stalker. I think, Bree, is it?
Hey, we're just checking up on you because we care about you. We wouldn't go to your page if we didn't care about you.
Exactly. And so I find, Ethan, in their news feed, a post, and it says, hey, if you receive a friend request from me, don't accept it. Delete it immediately. So I'm like, that's interesting. So I go to their account, the fake account, and I'm like, this has no posting, no pictures of their family, no friends that I know. This is a fake account. So I reported it to Facebook, and then the next thing is history. That account will probably be deleted. But the fact is, people can steal your information, create false profiles of you, and it is what it is. There's really nothing you can do about it. So people can use social media for fake purposes, right? I don't think that's a news flash to anybody, right, Bree?
That's true. I had my picture stolen once and used by some fake thing, and it was really creepy.
So we need to know this. You know, social media, although it can be a very useful tool, we also got to be careful with it because it can be used incorrectly and it can be used for harm rather than good. Samuel, I hope that you use social media when you're allowed to for good purposes and not bad, right?
He says when you're allowed to. It could be
Yeah.
20 years from now, but when you're allowed to.
So as a youth pastor, check this out, Bree. As a youth pastor, I've seen many trends come and go. Have you seen any
I have.
come and go?
Like musically. And yeah. And what was that one? Starts with a Vine.
Vine, that was popular.
You guys are like,
for a
what's
little bit.
Vine?
Then now you have TikTok. Snapchat was all the rage from like 2016 to like 2017.
They still use it.
Yeah, they do, but yeah, of
Twitter.
course, before your time, and I know some of you still use it, but Instagram was big from 2015 to 2017, give or take.
Longer than that.
Yeah, give or take, but that's when it really hit its heyday. And you see some good things and you see some bad things. I'm just going to run through a list of things that you could see. You could see child predators posing as teenagers to pick up dates with young kids. You see that. You see that. If you have someone DMing you in your inbox and you don't know them, probably should stay away from them. I might be wrong. I might just be an old guy who doesn't know what they're talking about. But I think you need to exercise caution. So you see that. You see teenagers creating fake accounts known as burner accounts because they want to post something that their mom and dad doesn't need to see. I've seen that before. I've seen teenagers have like 3 and 4 different accounts and their parents are only added to one account. People also call these fences, I believe.
And like spam accounts, something like that. We're so old.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But that's what we're saying.
Check this out.
Is it all good?
Like I mentioned a moment ago, these people are posing as my friends to gain more influence and more friends to do who knows what. I don't know why people create fake accounts, but it happens. People also only post the good things in life. Like, for instance, they'll post when they make a straight A on a test or when they're out playing Friday night football or when they hit a grand slam in the World Series, or the list could go on. People like to post all the good things, like having a baby, blowing a dandelion, throwing leaves up in the fall, you know. But you know what? They never post bad things. Like they're never going to post the time they got their foot cut off.
I don't know.
Well, if they do, they're weird. They're never going to post the time their boyfriend or girlfriend broke up with them. And a picture of them crying their lungs out or their eyes out or whatever creates tears.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just don't see people posting all the bad things about life unless they're an overposter. And I know they're out there, but the majority of people only post the good things. So it got me thinking, social media is something that is definitely an elephant of the church. You know, technology has shifted in the last 100 years dramatically, but the Bible doesn't talk about social media. The Bible doesn't talk about television, doesn't talk about phones.
It did not exist then.
But what does it talk about? Character. It talks about character. So I started to think to myself, okay, if the Bible doesn't address technology specifically, but it does address character, can we learn from how people acted in the Bible and how it relates to today, not only your regular life, but also on your online life as well. Bree, you think that's possible?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. It's really hard to turn a page with a Band-Aid on my finger.
Let me help you.
This morning I was trying to put on my boots, right? And I couldn't. And my finger slipped and jabbed my thumb. So now I have a really deep hole in my thumb. And it was bleeding like crazy. So I have this lovely Band-Aid. I didn't post that online, though. So character is something that can stand on social media, and it can stand well. My question, Bree, is it possible to sin on social media? If so, what's that look like?
Absolutely. That can look like trolling someone. It's like, yeah, bullying. Bullying someone, making fun of someone. Honestly, it can be as simple as seeing someone's picture and in your mind going, man, they looked like trash today. Ow, yes. But you see what I'm saying? Like, it's more than just, it's up here too. Like, there are sometimes it's looking at things on social media that you don't need to be looking at. Like the scroll. Oh, I shouldn't look at that. But wait a second. Let me go back and I just want to see that. Or let me follow this hashtag on Instagram and see where that takes me. Do you know what hashtags are?
So, yes, I do believe you can sin on social media. You can lie, you can cheat, you can blaspheme, you can bully, you can steal on the virtual social media aspect, just like you do in real life. And yes, I do believe that would be considered a sin, because you and your social media life are one and the same. I know we like to think that regular life and online life is different. It's still you, and it's still your character. So my question is, what are we putting out there? What are we putting out there? Character is something that we see in the Bible, Logan. And tonight we're going to be looking at the life of a king. Now we think to ourselves, a king can do whatever they want because it's a king. He's the leader. He controls himself. He controls the nation. He can do whatever he wants. But today I'm here to tell you, even a king has someone to answer to. You have someone to answer to. And I know you're thinking, yeah, Dustin, that's why I can't wait to get out of high school, because I can be my own person. But guess what? When you do, and you graduate college, because I hope all of you guys do that, you're going to have to answer to her boss. If you're your own business owner, guess what? You got to answer to the people you got to pay bills to. Okay, so that's great. You're saying, well, forget that. I'm going to be president. Well, guess what? You have to answer to the House, the Senate, the Supreme Court, and yes, your voters as well. And so you're not exempt from being able to answer someone in that aspect. So you're saying, I'm going to be the King of England. He answers to nobody. Well, is that true? Bree, is that true? Let's face it, even the King of England or the Queen of England, they answer to Parliament, and most importantly, God. So tonight when we look at this King Ethan, we are going to see that he answers to somebody, Samuel. And that person he answers to is God, and also Samuel as well. We're speaking on Samuel and God tonight. So in 1 Samuel chapter 15, we're going to find God speaking to King Saul. And Bree, what he asks Saul to do is simple. He's going to go destroy the Amalekite clan. Can you say that for me one more time?
Amalekites.
Amalekite clan. God asked him to go destroy the Amalekite army, destroy everything, right? Everything. Everything you see, everything you hear, everything that moves, you take it out. For whatever reason, Saul says, okay, and then goes out and he does the opposite. And that's where we pick up in verse 7 of 1 Samuel chapter 15. Bree, you want to read it?
I
That
do.
little paragraph in green.
Then Saul attacked the Amalekites
Good job.
all the way from Havilah to Shur, near the eastern border of Egypt. He took Agag, king of the Amalekites, alive, and all his people he totally destroyed with the sword, Logan. But Saul and the army spared Agag and the best of the sheep and cattle and the fat calves and the lamb, everything that was good. They were unwilling to destroy completely, but everything that was despised and weak, they totally destroyed. Then the word of the Lord came to Samuel. I regret that I have made Saul king because he has turned away from me and has not carried out my instructions. Samuel was angry and he cried out to the Lord all that night.
So that's where we find ourselves. God gives them a clear order, and he doesn't do it. He thinks his way is better, so he does his own thing. And that's really dangerous. Anytime God tells us to do something and we do the opposite, that's a very dangerous place to be. And at this point, God had had enough of King Saul. He would give him order after order after order, and he would disobey. He would do his own thing. He would follow his own path. So it got to the point where God was about to remove his anointing from the king. Like I said, all kings answer to somebody. Early the next morning, Samuel went to meet the king Saul and tell him the news, honestly. But the king went up to build a monument for his fantastic war victory of himself. Does that sound conceited in the house to anybody? A little bit arrogant? A little bit lacking in humility? But that's what he did, and it was a customary practice. But finally, Samuel caught up with the king, and this next conversation did not go well. And it was very awkward, very uncomfortable. So let's look at that now, starting in verse 15. Samuel answered, the soldiers brought them from the Amalekites. They spared the best sheep and cattle to sacrifice to the Lord your God, but we totally destroyed the rest. Translation, hey, we destroyed everything we were supposed to, but we know God likes sacrifices, so we took the best cattle and sheep, and we're going to give it back to your God. In a way, that's his way of saying, I'm a little bit smarter than God, and I know what God is asking for. In reality, we don't. We don't know better than God, even at times when we think we do. Obedience is always better than sacrifice. In verse 16, enough, Samuel said to Saul. Let me tell you what the Lord said to me last night. Tell me, Saul replied. Samuel said, although you were once small in your own eyes, did you not become the head of the tribes of Israel? The Lord anointed you king over Israel, and he sent you on a mission saying, go and completely destroy those wicked people, the Amalekites. Wage war against them until you have wiped them out. Why did you not obey the Lord? Why did you not pounce on the plunder and do evil in the eyes of the Lord? Why did you pounce on the plunder and do the evil in the eyes of the Lord? But I did obey the Lord, Saul said. And this is when he starts to justify his actions. We do that at times when we sin. We know it's wrong, and we start to reason in our minds why it's okay. And that's exactly what's happening here. But I did obey the Lord, Saul said. I went on the mission the Lord assigned me. I completely destroyed the Amalekites and brought back Agag, their king. Wait a minute. I completely destroyed the Amalekites. Did I say that right? There we go. But I brought back their king. Did you destroy him or not? Did you destroy him or not? The soldiers took the sheep and cattle from the plunder, the best of what was devoted to God, in order to sacrifice them to the Lord your God at Gilgal. Samuel replied, does the Lord delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as much as obeying the Lord? Bree, can I get you to read that next line?
To obey is better than sacrifice, and to heed is better than the fat of rams.
For rebellion is like the sin of divination, and arrogance like the evil idolatry. Because you have rejected the word of the Lord, he has rejected you as king. Now, as I share the story tonight, it is very sad indeed. But I got to be honest here. It is very easy to find yourself in the same place as this king. I know we like to look at this and be like, why didn't he obey God? But how many times did we get on our social media devices and we say, we know what God's plan is for our life? And you're posting and you're posting and you're posting, and you click send, and it can really hurt and destroy somebody. How many times have God asked us to speak to a certain friend in our high school or our junior middle school, and they'll say, you know what? I got a math class I got to go to. See you later. How many times have God told us to go on a mission trip and we say, you know what? I can't afford it. I can't do it. I know you're telling me to, but no. How many times have we reasoned in our own mind, say, you know what? This sin that I just committed, the fact that I talked really bad about my teachers behind their back and called them bad names and used inappropriate language, it's okay because that person wronged me first. How many times have we justified our sin? Bree, do you think it would be easy to find yourself in the same situation as King Saul?
Absolutely. No, seriously. Piece of cake.
And it's scary because it's easy over time to us say, you know what, God, I'm going to follow my way. You know what, God, I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to do it my way. Until we get to the point where God could remove his anointing from our life. I don't want that to be said of you. Like Saul, I think we all have a humility problem. We all struggle with arrogance because we believe that we know best. Because we believe that we can do no wrong. But honestly, that thinking can lead us to great danger. I know, as I mentioned a moment ago, that Saul created the statue of himself. It sounded arrogant, right? It did. It did. It's okay to say that. It's okay. It's okay to say that. But at the same time, I feel at times that's exactly what our social media accounts can look like if we're not careful. Because it can easily be, and I'm not saying you do this, I'm just saying it's a common trend that you see. It is easy for you to be in the gym and decide, you know what, I'm going to take this selfie of me, flexing my biceps, post it on social media, and bam, look at me for the whole world to see.
I'm going to do it tomorrow and the day after that and the day after that and the day after that.
I could see how that could look a little bit arrogant.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm going to make fun of myself a little bit. I used to work out a lot, and I loved it, and I still do. I just have a kid now, so it changes life a little bit. But, you know, I liked my muscles, and so I would, post my profile pictures as this pose. I didn't mean anything by it. I wasn't trying to be arrogant or conceited, but that's how it came across. That's exactly how it came across. Really, I just thought I was being cool. But one could easily say, that's a little bit arrogant. You know, it's a wonder. Have you noticed that we post all of our great accomplishments? We graduate high school. Oh, look at me in my cap and gown. We do something extraordinary. We catch a pass. Oh, look at me catching this pass. And I'm not saying that that's necessarily wrong. But I am saying, what's our heart behind the post? What's our heart behind the post? Is it to glorify ourselves or to point someone to a bigger picture? Is it to make ourselves look good, or is it to say, you know what? My God gave me these gifts and abilities. What's the heart behind the post? That's what we're getting at tonight.
Yeah, or is it a post to say, oh, look at how many likes that I got on this post. Look at how many people commented on this post. Think about the heart behind it, because that's a real thing. I mean, oh, that post only got 12 likes. Man, feel crushed. You've all been there. Bree's like, yeah. You delete it. Stop. That's so bad. See? But what's your heart behind it, Bree? What's the heart behind it? I'm just going to leave you with that. Keep going, Dustin.
So tonight we look at King Saul, and how does this relate to social media? Well, it's simple. It is easy to justify our faulty actions. It really is, saying, you know what, it's not all that bad. But we also need to know that we are not more intelligent than God. Tonight, God is asking you to be a good steward of the character you display online. He's asking you to use your social media devices intentionally, the way He asks you to. But it's easy to say, you know what, God, I hear you, but I'm still going to do what I'm going to do. And that's where it can get dangerous. I know that you can be whoever you want to be and say whatever you want to say, but think before you press send. It's easy to type out a big, massively long Instagram post talking bad about other people, calling people names, bullying people, belittling people. But think before you press send. Okay? Think about what God would ask you to do in that moment. The world does not need more negativity. Think before you go on a rampage. And understand this, not everyone on social media is on there for the right purpose. Some are on there to glorify themselves. Some are there to keep up with people. Some are there to start dating relationships with people. Everybody has a different purpose. But know what your purpose is. Our purpose in all that we do should be to honor God, to offer our bodies as a living sacrifice to Him. So try to even do that on your online presence. We're going to give you a couple tips that I think can help you become even better on social media. It's an amazing tool, and you should use it if your parents allow it. If they don't, follow their lead. But if they'll let you, it can be used for good. So let me give you a couple pieces of advice. Don't use social media for dating purposes. Bree, why do you think that's important?
Nobody posts their true self on the internet. Let's just leave it at that. You whiten your teeth in photos. Bree doesn't have white teeth. See? It is thank you. It's really easy to put up a persona, something that you aren't really on the internet. And if you can do it, someone else can do it too. And I guarantee you that they do.
Also, do me a favor. Only accept friends of people you know.
Yes.
Let me say that again. Only accept friends to those you personally know. Bree, can you say the same thing?
Do not add someone as a friend on Snapchat. I don't know how TikTok works. Do you add friends on TikTok? I don't know. Followers, whatever. Do not accept someone you do not personally know. Even if it's just a random kid in school that you think you've seen one time, if you do not know the person, please, 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 for the safety of your life, there are kids like literally things are happening. Like for your safety, do not. Thank you.
Do me a favor, watch your DMs as well.
Oh, Lord. People better not be sliding into your DMs, okay? Let's just call it like that.
And
Sasha,
you better not be sliding into other
people's DMs. You better not be sliding into other people's DMs, okay? So, like, none of that, hey, good looking.
You don't always know the other person on the other end.
Listen up.
So, if you don't feel comfortable with your mom and dad knowing what's said on your direct messaging apps, if you don't feel comfortable with Bree and I knowing what's on those DMs, it probably shouldn't be happening. Okay?
Yep. I just was going to say something else and I didn't. I was like, we'll leave it there.
Here's the next one. If you want to post something you don't want your mom to see, you probably shouldn't post it at all. If you don't want your mom...
Do what? Or Jesus,
Right. If your mom would be disappointed if we would be disappointed. If Jesus would be disappointed, you probably shouldn't post that. Also, and lastly, before we move on, watch what you view. I know a lot of people post a lot about sexualized content. You don't need to be looking at that, okay? You don't need to be looking at that or following those threads. And honestly, don't add to that either, especially during swimsuit season. I don't want to see you in a Speedo, Jonathan. Logan, sorry. I don't want to see you,
That's
Jonathan.
like Jonathan. Jonathan's right over here.
So
we don't want to see that either. But
yes, obey God in your usage of social media.
sorry. I don't want to see you in a Speedo either, Dustin.
I don't either. I got a bit of a dad bod going on now. All
Anyway,
right.
moving on. Listen up.
Obey God. Listen. Obey God in your uses of social media. Tonight's Bible passage tells us the importance of listening to God and following through completely, not half, completely. So follow God when he asks you to do something and maintain a heart of humility. That's where Saul went wrong. He thought it was about him, not about his God. And so he started listening to himself more than God. He thought that his ideas and strategies would honor God, when really God was just looking for complete obedience. We should strive to give God our complete obedience online and in real life. So know your heart when posting. So what if we use these principles as a guide tonight? What if we learn to obey? What if we remained humble? What if we listen to God? And instead of lifting up ourselves, we do it to lift him up. Social media can be used for good. I like what Sydney did the other day. Picture of her with a Bible verse on it. Man, that's uplifting to God. I'm not sure if God asked you to do that or not, but we saw it, and we thought it was pretty special. You can use social media for those purposes. It's okay to post pictures of your daughter. I do that all the time. It's okay to post pictures of you with your teammates showing that you're a friendly person. That's fine.
It's just your heart. Pay attention to what your heart is behind what you're posting. Does that make sense?
Therefore, let's change the way we do social media. Let's seek to be a witness about God instead of a hindrance keeping people away from him. Let's seek to have a social character the way we display in our regular life. Let's seek to honor God and really make our lives as an act of worship to him instead of flying off the handle about the coronavirus and say, blah, 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 the U.S. stinks. You know what I mean? Think before you press sin. Let's seek to build the kingdom of God instead of our own following. The goal should not be 5,000, 10,000 followers. The goal should be to bring people closer to Jesus. So realize one thing. God is more intelligent than what we are. Okay? He is more intelligent than we are. He's asking you to obey him and his standards online, as well as in real life. So think before you post. Pray before you post. Follow his voice more than your own inclinations. Post on purpose. Post on purpose. Social media is not evil, Bree. It's not. It can be used to show some valuable things. But I also know it can give us an avatar to be especially mean. Online and in real life, it's easy to disobey God and follow our own path. It's easy to do those kind of things. It's easy to say, I know a little bit more. But God is looking for obedience. God is asking for obedience. Complete obedience. Will you follow him? Will you listen to him? Seek to obey God in all of you do.